Hey, Weekend Gabe here, holding down your Tuesday night. Hopefully everyone's having a great Tuesday night here on Weekend at Gabe's, holding you down here on Twitch. We got a great show lined up. Kiss 103's Jrdn is going to be joining us. And then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to be talking with Chicago's own Philmore Greene, who has the new record out, produced by Rashid Hadi and Slade. So we're going to get into it with him about that. So I'm excited to celebrate this last Tuesday night with you here on Weekend at Gabe's. It's going to be a really fun night. Hopefully everyone had a great holiday, great gifts. I landed the Oculus VR device. You guys might have heard about this. I think Facebook manages it. And so they, I went and got it because I was looking for a computer, but I ended up buying this VR device. And it is by far one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. It's not the Matrix, but it definitely is hinting at it. And it's not like that Black Mirror episode either. If you know, you know. But it is fairly super cool. The roller coaster stuff is like phenomenally close to real life experience. So I highly encourage you, if you can afford it, to go get your hands on that. I guess with everyone's new stimmy money coming in, looks like Congress, they're going to move out to $600. But today, the Grim Reaper, Mitch McConnell, decided that $600 was all they're going to get. So that I think that's a good transition. The Gabe only cares about. Mitch McConnell shut down and object to any additional money. The stimulus bill that was by the House and the Senate, so no $2,000. But either way, $600 for individuals that make less than $75,000, $1,200 for couples that make less than, I think, $150,000, something like that, and then $600 for children. So if you're a family of four, you get about $2,400. That's not too bad, but you know, for all those families that have been thousands of dollars in behind on rent and mortgage, $2,400 isn't going to go very far. But $2,000 per person would have gone very, very far. But either way, hopefully the Joe Biden stimmy is going to be bigger than this if he's able to do it, depending on what happens in the Georgia election in a few days in January. The Department of Justice announced that it will not have further charges for the police officers involved in the 2014 killing of Tamir Rice. If you're surprised, I don't know why you are. That shouldn't come as a surprise at all, that the DOJ would go after police. Your Chicago Bulls are 0-3 on the season. They're taking on the Washington Wizards tonight, and they're looking pretty good before we jump on the call tonight. So hopefully they'll get their first win. The Chicago Cubs also are dismantling their team as we speak, moving their starting pitcher, Yu Darvish, who is expected to go to the San Diego Padres, and Wilson Contreras, their all-star catcher, is also expected to be traded. So all that, they got the ring, and then they decided to dismantle the team. Meanwhile, my Chicago White Sox are looking glorious, despite having a suspicious and suspect leadership at the manager role. But if you haven't looked outside and you're in Chicago, it has begun to snow, which is a real bummer because I've been off the last week and a half, so about 10 days. And I was really hoping to go and do some sledding with the kids, and no snow. But then on my last day of vacation, guess what? We're getting about 4 inches overnight, and then some rain to throw on top of that snow. So tomorrow morning is going to be hell on wheels. So if you're driving around, I suspect you won't want to do that. So thankfully for all the people working remotely like myself, I don't have to deal with that headache. But the rest of you guys out there, that's going to be a nightmare. So good luck with that. I will say this. I haven't seen Wonder Woman 84 yet, but from all indications, it's terrible. But Soul, I hear, is fantastic, so I can't wait to get into Soul with Jamie Foxx. The kids watched it earlier today, and they said it's fantastic. But the slander that Wonder Woman 84 has gotten the last few days since it dropped on Christmas is like something I've never seen before. And I don't know if this is just a new way of how we'll be watching movies moving forward, even if we return to the theaters, but this video on demand or straight direct to HBO Max or however this is going to work out in the future, this immediate diagnosis of films and how we can stop and watch films and like really look into them in our own homes versus seeing it that one time in the theater, not being able to rewind. This is going to change the way we watch films. So I don't expect Wonder Woman 84 to be the end-all be-all of bad films to come out. It just might be the one that is mostly skewed by everyone in the free world from what we saw. But I saw about 25 minutes of it, and it looked bad. I'm going to ask our next guest coming up in a few minutes if he's seen it or not, because it looks bad. But also, I feel bad for Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins, who's the director of it, because they've been getting slandered heavy on this. But either way, I still need to catch up on those films. But if you're like me and you loved MTV's The Challenge, Netflix has the 2 seasons of Inferno, which is like shows that came on 15 years ago. And I watched Inferno 2 with Miz, who is now a WWE champion, and it is fantastically good. It's still very good, but it's just I hope that Netflix gets the rights from Viacom or whoever and start putting all these old challenge series up. That would be a great move for Netflix. I'd sit there and watch all that shit. That'd be the move for 2021. Speaking of 2021, we'll talk with our guests in just a few minutes, and we'll get their New Year's resolution, and then also get their best moments of 2020 if they have any. But either way, all right. Well, you're checking out Weekend Gabe on Weekend at Gabe's here on here on Twitch. I was about to say WLUW. It's been a long time since I've been on WLUW. But don't forget to give us a follow on the socials at Weekend Gabe. Joining us now, he is the weekday evening show host from 7 p.m. to midnight on Kiss 103 FM on the iHeartMedia channel. Jrdn Foster here on Weekend at Gabe's. How are you, sir?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for making time for us, man. I know you just went on vacation, so I appreciate you giving us some of your energy and time.
Hey, I'm free right now, man. So it's easy to do this.
I just figured with the year that you had, and everyone had that, this time you'd probably just reserve it for yourself. But I'm glad you have a little bit of flexibility, so we appreciate it.
Of course.
You took over the slot over at Kiss 103 almost a little over a year ago. I think it was like October of 2019. I was reading the feeder piece. So it's about a year in this role. I remember doing 5-hour slots for a couple days in a row. You do it 5 hours, 5 days a week. For me, it always felt like if I was just in like a boxing match or something, because it's like 5 hours. Your endurance has to be really just like built for that kind of length, because it's not for everyone. What's your motivation? Like what like take us like when do you get into the studio, start prepping, and then like what is like sort of like how do you energize yourself to say like, because when you're doing commercial radio, you need energy going because the listeners feed off that. So how do you keep like the energy going, like going into it, into your show, but also and preparing for it?
Just getting excited to be able to talk to the people, really. Like I got a passion for telling stories, and that is basically how I do everything is each chance I get to crack the mic, I'm like, okay, how do I get to flip this or tell something funny? And obviously everybody's like, you guys play the same 12 songs over and over again. But it's always it's exciting for me to try to spice that up, always try to take on something, maybe the same thing at times, just in a different way. So it's just really having a love for conversation and talking to people.
With commercial radio, it's like obviously it's not like NPR where there's long form interviews. So being someone who likes to talk and engage, you only have that small window to like really get information either with a guest or with a caller. Like is there a skill to extracting the stuff without like having someone drone on and like you need to get the good stuff so then you can just push on to the next record? What kind of skill or talent does that require?
Just knowing what the important stuff is, really. Just
Yeah.
if I took a good call, like I already am in my head saying I can be on the phone with this person for no longer than 30 seconds,
Right.
So what are we talking about right now? If it's a topic that I'm throwing out, what's the best thing that they said in those 30 seconds? And it is definitely a gamble because sometimes they don't say anything good.
Sure.
It's a total wash. But yeah, no, it's really just about knowing what your time constraints are. It's really all time management. I can't pinpoint one skill. My thing is, if it made me laugh, it might make somebody else laugh. So if that one phrase that they said or their tidbit on my question was something that caught my attention, let's throw it out there and see how everybody else is feeling about it.
Everyone knows like with morning radio, there's kind of like that almost demand to kind of like say something to keep people tuned in. And so that's where you
Right.
get the shock radio and like the cheating and the real scandalous stuff.
Right.
Like at night, I don't suspect you get a lot of that, but well, what are some of like the adventurous calls that you might receive from people? Do any stand
Oh,
out to you?
I think if anything, people are more free at night rather than in the morning. Like people, we were talking earlier. I do something called the Kiss Confessional, and I'll give out tickets, but it's like you can have them, but you got to tell me something good. We're in a confessional. And the things people are willing to let go
Yeah.
are insane. I had one woman call in, and I was like, you gotta, you're in the confessional, you gotta confess. And she said, I have a pet, but it's not an animal or a plant. And at first I was like, it's not an animal or a plant. You gotta, oh, a person? You what? And she was like, yes, honey. And I was like, you're gonna have to break that down for me because I'm not, I don't know about too much of that. But yeah, people say wild stuff all the time. So it's fun to be on at night just because that's when people kind of take their cool off.
Yeah. Now, do you notice that people tend to like I guess from speaking to listeners, because obviously there's a lot of people tend to go to the streaming services to get music, but like, do you feel like people are still interacting with radio because of that human element that they can find from someone like yourself who is conversational and engaging with them? Do you find that refreshing at all that people are still locked into radio despite all the alternatives that are available?
Yeah, I think that there's a misconception about radio's role in the music industry entirely just because of, your Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, all these other streaming services where you can get music on demand. There's still radio plays a huge role in an artist's life and well, not necessarily life, but in an artist's career and a shelf life in terms of what makes it to Billboard, and that is a huge thing. Just for the success of an artist, a single and a full album, So it's interesting how much, just because of the internet, how much transparency there is. So fans now know that, like, okay, a big way for this artist or this record to blow up is to be played on commercial radio, and is to be played on commercial radio in succession, So there's a demand for, just that immediate connection now that I don't think you ever had before. Because prior to something like Twitter, the only way you were talking to one of the radio jocks was by calling in, and that was
Right.
a dime a dozen chance that you even got through. But now to be able to tweet at me and say, hey, you gotta play this record, you gotta get this on, I've got an interesting dynamic now is just that connection from the fans, is being able to see what people want to listen to based on who is, in my DMs for nothing but, oh, I know that you work at the radio. We gotta get you to listen to this record in hopes that you play it. And that's been, I guess, how I'm navigating the radio world, just in a digital space. I obviously understand that with streaming services, there's an immediacy that we can't bring, but the importance of a Kiss FM, iHeart in general, is huge, because that's still regarded as the pinnacle of music in some aspects. So
Absolutely.
The connection now, that joining or immediacy of contact from fans to people like myself, and stations like Kiss, I think is still very huge.
How often do you find yourself, because like you were mentioning that people are sending you records, and I've been there on the receiving, and I'm still on the receiving end of people reaching out to me for records, and I appreciate it. But like, what do you like? Do you feel like radio still has a place for, and I know I mentioned like before, breaking artists, but like still discovering artists before the internet or the fans do. But like, I think at this point, with the way music is designed, is like an artist already has to come pre-packaged with the following, with an established sound,
Right.
already ready to go. It's not like 30 years ago where an artist was just founded up based off pure talent. Now it's like, how many social media followers do you have? How many SoundCloud streams do you have? And then you might elevate or graduate to having your record played at, like you were mentioning, sort of this pinnacle space that everyone wants to still achieve, because
Right.
there's a market and there's listenership for it. But like, do you still feel like there's a place for radio or terrestrial radio to break artists, or to give artists who don't have those those items listed off to get their sound listened on in a mass space? Do you feel like that, or do you
I
not?
think that radio in new artists have shifted, in the sense that terrestrial radio, at least, doesn't necessarily, how would I put it? I don't think we start trends. I think we establish them. So I think that there are, just based on the ways at which people can get music out now, there's so many platforms where you can release music outside of the top 3 or 4 streaming services, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, the list goes on, where how you reach your audience with your music. And just because of that, each year we increase with new artists exponentially. So it's a lot harder to weed out those artists. But obviously you got to get plays in like the tens of millions, and then that's when things start really popping off for an artist. But I don't think that we are necessarily at this point saying, hey, here's somebody new we think you guys should get into. We are like, okay, who new artist who you should get into, and then our role is to either like double down on that, or be like, nah, we don't think that's us yet, and keep going. So I don't think that we're lost in the digital space. It's just that we've kind of repositioned our role.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's another person that I remember who kind of traveled your journey. Ludacris was also an MC or a DJ before he became an MC. Your role kind of is a little bit different, where you were
reverse,
MC, and then you were still doing radio at the University of Syracuse, right? You were
yeah, SU, my home. Yeah.
So you were J Foss.
Yeah.
Still have your
I dropped the J after a little bit. Once I thought things were really gonna go somewhere, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be Foss.
Smart. What did it like being an artist and transitioning into radio? Was that an easy segue? Because you're obviously, when you're doing public speaking, you need to be able to connect. And being an artist, whether you're recording or performing live, that's something you need to master. So was it an easy segue moving into a public medium like radio or broadcasting?
Yeah, I think once I had gotten comfortable, being on the radio and kind of understanding what it meant to be a good jock, then the reinforcement of what I used to do kind of kicked in. But at first, I think just being in a new space in general, I feel like we all remember the first time we, talked on a hot mic, and I don't know too many people who were, who crushed it regardless of what they did before. But yeah, once I had felt comfortable, that kind of reappeared, I guess, that sort of public speaking situation, kicked back in. But I think the biggest thing that me making music and performing before that helps now is interviewing artists. It's been some time since I've gotten to sit down with somebody face to face, but whether it was in like a backstage sort of thing or over Instagram Live, the one thing that kind of always made me transition from question to question, or really just even know what to ask people to get them to say the best stuff, was thinking about, okay, I've been in their shoes to some degree. What are the things that I would hate to have asked, and what are things I would love? What are things I'm not even thinking about that would catch me off guard? So just trying to put myself in their shoes, having been there, kind of. Is what helps me the most now.
Yeah. What was what was your, I want to say, first break? Like, how did, like, what after college, did you land an internship? Like, did you stay in Syracuse, or how did your journey land you in Chicago? Like, what were some of the stops that you landed at, and what were some of those jobs or opportunities?
So I went to Syracuse University. At the time I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the next big rapper. Like, that was, that was all my head was filled with.
Not too late.
Like, I'm gonna do that. And then after playing some shows down in New York City and just like in the tri-state area, this was a couple months after I graduated from college. My car broke down, and my parents had moved to the west suburbs of Chicago my freshman year of college. So I had, basically did what I could to get myself to Chicago. And I was like, okay, I'm going to figure myself out and possibly get back out there, like to the East Coast. And then I just ended up falling in love with Chicago and staying here. And was still doing music, keeping odd jobs, working call centers, did some like door-to-door home remodeling, just random jobs, whatever I could, keep while I was still doing music. And then after a certain, several events, I was just like, you know what, I want to do something else. I don't want to continue to do this. And had a part-time job already at iHeart, and was just in their promotions department, giving out like t-shirts and things like that. And as I was there, more people were like, you got a little personality to you, a little character to you, you should consider trying to board up or figure it out, even if it's like an overnight kind of thing, doing that. So finally I spent a whole summer trying to learn how to board op, doing every opportunity I could there, whether it was on Kiss FM, V103, Big 95.5 back when it was the country station, whatever station would have me, just trying to soak up as much game as I could. And then also making air checks and just kind of sending those air checks to the PDs and the APDs, and every week just kind of being that person in their inbox as much as I possibly could, just being annoying as hell. I'm sure I sent several people, you know, an air check week after week to no avail. They probably never listened to them once, you know,
Yeah.
and then finally, I think that dedication and, you know, giving myself the time to kind of figure out what my sound was going to be. They were like, okay, yeah, we'll give you a little 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Sunday morning slot on Kiss, and then just kept doing that until I got to where I am now.
The brutal Sunday morning show, I know all too familiar.
Let's get it, man. Everybody's gotta do it. Everybody's gotta do the insano hour shift. I used to watch the station from like 11 p.m. to like 5 a.m. and then do that shift. So I would be up like from the night before and then jump right into that.
Oh my goodness! I was doing a 7 a.m. Sunday shift over at Loyola for 4 years, and so I was up at 5:30, drive downtown, and then maybe have 30 minutes of just sort of organizing myself, and then doing 2 hours. And it's I hate getting up, period, early in the morning, and then it just became you just become acclimated to it. But now I'm so glad to have my Sundays back, so it's not too bad. Then I wanted to ask you about, like, once the world decided to turn upside down, like, how did the energy of doing the show at night, how did that change, and what was the listening to, you know, people calling in? How did that? Just take me into, like, what were people saying when, like, the quarantine was happening and everything around us was changing? Did you kind of feel like even we're playing this very, like, up-tempo music, but the music that wasn't matching what's happening in the world? So, like, was that kind of confusing for everyone? Or, like, take me into, like, that moment back in March and April.
Well, first I found out that radio jocks in general are quote unquote first responders. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like we had gotten emails from FEMA, and I'm sitting here like, they must have the wrong Jrdn, because I'm not first responding to shit. Like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. No, so like radio jocks are like, by no means, I don't want to, you know, put that in the air that we are on the same level as, you know, people in hospitals, in any sort of healthcare. Those are the first responders. I am the bottom, like, garbage truck juice of the first responder section. Like, we're just, in case something were to go down, I guess, like back in the 50s or whenever radio was brand new, you know, we were the people who would tell the rest of the town, like, hey, a war is coming, or, you know, something like that. So like that, you know, that when that happened, and I'm only saying this as funny as it is, I'm only saying this because that was like the first initial shock for me. Like, beyond the fact that you're telling me I'm one of them, I'm like, oh, this is that serious where I might have to get on the radio and be like, I know I'm about to spin you some Dua Lipa, but stay the fuck in your hole. Like, you know, like I was very, that was the first time, like, I really had to kind of shift my mindset on what was actually going on, not only in Chicago, but just, you know, in the world. But in terms of doing radio day to day, it's different because it's hard to, it's obviously a downsize of technology. You know, we're at such a, like I was saying before, a digital space. So we've got all the equipment to accommodate, you know, all these digital attributes and features that we go through just running a normal show. So to be dialed down to basically a podcast setup, something, you know, that I can run out of my bedroom, it was just harder. It's a longer process to, like, take calls and you know, really connect with people on that level. So my whole thing, for me at least, was just okay, if it's something where I can't always sit and watch when people are calling in, how do I still connect with them? And that
Sure.
was really making me think about, what are we doing at the end of the day? I know it's a pandemic. I know things are really bleak in every situation, but bare bones, we're here to provide an escape for people.
Yeah.
We're here to play some of the songs that you're familiar with, quite possibly songs that you love.
Yeah.
So as long as we are keeping a upbeat kind of, I'm not gonna say we're sunshine and rainbows 100% of the time,
Right.
but as long as we're sitting there being the positive alternative, I think that's the best thing any of us could do in a space like this, whether it's radio, entertainment in general. It's always about realizing that at the end of the day, people come to us to kind of get away from the immediate shit that's going on with them. So I take that notion into each and every show and be like, all right, I might be having a shit day. I might have been on the couch and just watched 3 seasons of The Office. I don't have anything to contribute to the city of Chicago, but what are we here to do? What was our intended goal in the first place? And that's to give people some good music. And, if they walk away with a laugh or two, that's all we can hope for. So yeah, that's my thought on it.
Good deal. All right, before we let you go, Jrdn, do you have several or any top 5 moments of 2020 that you can think of?
I don't know if I have like 5 in chronological order, but just like off the top of my head, Murder Hornets and the return of Murder Hornets, like that was something
that was crazy.
Like, if COVID never happened, think about how much press that would have got. Like, first of all, their name is Murder Hornets. Like,
and they cut off the heads of the bees, which is crazy. So they just leave the carcass.
And they're savages in what they do. But then, like, we heard about it maybe in like April, and then May hit, and it was just like, what the fuck is a murder hornet? And then in September, everybody was like, Murder Hornets are back, and they're murderous than ever, more murderous than ever.
Right.
I was like, that's a story arc we kind of skipped over. I wish that would have got more attention. Rudy Giuliani would probably, at any given moment would be one of my top 5, because what the fuck? He got progressively worse with every encounter we had with him. I would love to put Rudy Giuliani and R. Kelly, just their track run into their own demise up against each other and see which was worse. Probably R. Kelly. I don't know. I really don't know. I could say, in the same breath, I could say Rudy. But yeah, just watching him devolve was oddly fun. A personal one, just really taking the time to figure out who I was as a person. I think 2020 really forced people to look in the mirror, and it was either you get comfortable with that person or you, I don't know, hate yourself for the rest of your life. I don't know how that went out negatively for some people, but it really gave me the chance to reflect and come out on top. So I was thankful for that. That was kind of like the silver lining. And the 5th one would, again, in no particular order, like there's a lot I'm definitely missing, but just off the top of my head, Chicago's very brief open container law, or like bylaw, where, hey, we still want you should stay home because we're in a pandemic. But in the event that you go out, don't come to our restaurant, just get our alcohol to go. And everything is okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. And just, I've never seen people blackout drunk so casually, like on a 3 p.m. sort of situation. You could go to like Wicker Park or Logan Square at night and see people a mess, but to have that go down in broad day for like a good 2-3 weeks, I was like, I don't know where the fuck we are, but I'm digging this. I'm digging this part right now. But yeah, no, there's a ton of Black Lives Matter becoming a very mainstream thing, just the importance of how disparaging the gap is racially, socially, classism being an extreme, just all those things come to light. Obviously huge highlights that, if we're getting serious, I could touch on, but just some, small funny things, those would probably be my top 5.
That's a great list. I totally forgot about the murder hornets, which I remember vividly. It was like right during the rioting that was happening. I'm like, great. What else do we need?
Right. It was like April, we were against all odds because like we've got a bucked in this pandemic. It's still a very much a Wild West sort of situation. We're getting ready to protest now, but also there are killer bees. What are they murdering? And nobody really touched on that. So yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was like, yeah. Ever a moment where I'm like, we're never getting out of this. I was like, that was like the moment I'm like, this is like against all odds. Like everything is collapsing right now.
Yeah. It's crazy because I remember when the people that make South Park were like, we can't continue writing because reality is now crazier than anything they can come up with.
That's hilarious.
They were saying that back in like 2018. So to be here, I was just like, this is bizarro land. Like I don't know what's every day is something new, like it was. We were, if you can recall, this was in the same year back in January. They thought that we were going to be in World War III.
It just seemed like it got progressively worse.
It was just like, oh no, this is, it was only taken off. Remember, we lost Kobe Bryant. Like,
yeah.
It was in 2020 was just like, if you think it could get bad, hold my beer.
Exactly.
It was like we were 5 months in, like, what the fuck? And 2020 was like, I haven't taken the training wheels off yet.
Like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, no, and there was a lot more.
Oh my God. Jrdn, man, I appreciate you spending some time with us and some laughs. I wish you the best going forward. Kiss 103 FM here in Chicago from 7 to midnight every weekday when you get back after the new year. Please let us know if you want to come back and just chat some more. I really enjoy this, and I really enjoy what you're doing for the city and bring the spark of joy in this otherwise dark period in our lifetime.
Thank you, man. Hey, one day at a time. That's all I can say. One day at a time.
For sure, man. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk with you soon, all right?
Definitely. Thanks again for having me on. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, Jrdn from Kiss 103 FM here on Weekend at Gabe's. We're going to bring in our next guest who needs no introduction, but also another friend of the show. My guy, Philmore Greene. He has the new album out right now, Survival Scroll. I don't know if you heard any of the Jrdn's top 5 moments of 2020, but it's all bad.
I haven't heard it yet. What's going on?
Oh, okay. I'm good. We're just rounding out like the how awful 2020 was and murder hornets. So I'll ask you your top 5 favorite moments later in the show. So maybe a little bit more optimistic.
Okay.
But how are you, man? How happy holidays? How was your Christmas? Did you get everything you wanted?
Everything was good, man. I'm good. I don't really look for much during Christmas, but my kids got everything they wanted. Yeah, I got what I wanted. It was a pretty good day. We had some good food and great day. How about yours?
Oh man, it was really good. Getting my phone. Hang on. It was really good. The kids, like I said, the kids got everything they needed. Wanted.
I got Scotch glasses for Christmas.
Oh man, I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
So
I left I left my adult beverage in the freezer. I was supposed to bring it up with me, so I'll get that when I'm done.
Okay.
But yeah, it was good. The kids got everything that they wanted. The wife and I decided that we're gonna buy our own gifts this year, so I got the Oculus virtual reality thing that you might have seen people have on, and it's like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. It's like it is like legit, like feels like you're in the Matrix. It's not like Matrix quality yet, but it feels like you're definitely stepping in a different world. It's unreal. So
Nice.
if you have a few bucks, once everyone gets their stimmy, maybe people can afford to go get it. If you don't have to feed yourself and your children, and you got the extra money, I encourage you to go buy it. But otherwise, yeah, it was good, man. I'm just looking forward to ending this year and starting anew, and getting off to
Definitely looking forward to starting another year, man. Pardon my glasses too, man. I was in the shower and I got shampoo in my eyes and stuff, kind of like super reds. And
I really thought you were like on your Rick Ross, like boss,
nah, my eyes are like super red, man. I got to be on my cool guy shit for the interview, man. You know,
it's all good. I if you didn't say anything, I would have been like totally fine, no worries.
Yeah, you know.
But congratulations on the new album out, man. That's fantastic. The Survival Scroll, it dropped like a week or so ago. And I'm really happy. I've been bugging you for a while for when you were going to do the next record. There's just so much here that I really enjoy. But I also just really enjoy you, period, the way that you choose records to rhyme on, your voice, your delivery, your presence, the hunger and the raps, the storytelling. It just really epitomizes what I think a Chicago artist is, and you just engulf that into this new record. And the choices again that you decide to work with, and you always surround yourself with great producers who have great ears. What was your vision of trying to go into this next record? Because the last album was phenomenal, and to sort of to double down and be better than what your last offering was, I'm sure that had to be a difficult challenge. So what was your approach going into this record?
It's never a difficult challenge to me because I always look at music. It's basically off inspiration. So to the true story behind the Survival Scroll is it was inspired by 2020. I had another album that was going to come out, but I put that one on ice just to create this new body of work. Out of all those records on there, it was only 2 songs that I had recorded before COVID. So when the pandemic hit, I got my studio equipment for the house because I respect people's space and the whole thing was going on. So I respected Hadid's space. I wasn't going over there. He had always encouraged me to get my own studio equipment. So when I got my own studio equipment, he timed me and he guided me on putting it up, building it and putting it together and getting it active. So when we did that, I just, in a course of 9 days, I recorded records. I recorded the whole project in the course of 9 days, all inspired by 2020. So last year, the Survival Scroll didn't even exist. It wasn't even in my head. I was working on a whole different body of work, man.
Yeah.
Whole different body of work,
Yeah. Did this year? I know it had, like, for me, it was like definitely an emotional takedown. But like for you, like, where did, like, because you can hear like a lot of the messaging throughout the record about either I think you had like Mr. Farrakhan, like a quote or a blip from him, and then also some other lines of like talking about the country and bettering the country and what that's going to take. So how did everything that was happening, not even just the quarantine, but what was happening post George Floyd and the events that happened during the summer here in Chicago and across the country. How did all that stuff like sort of like help define what this record was going to be? Like, was there any like moment, or because every day like just something new was happening that we hadn't seen before, and so that had to like inspire or like spark a thought or some sort of creativity for what we heard on the record.
Oh man, for sure. Like the whole project was inspired by everything that was going on. And every time I would sit down, exactly where I am right now, I would sit down and create these records after watching television, because we were confined to our houses, just like we are now. So I would sit down with that same vibe, like the George Floyd vibe, and you know, the riots and stuff that was going on in Chicago. All of that was inspired by 2020, and that reflected in those records. You know, the Minister Farrakhan, the Farrakhan skit, that was intentional. The skit before that, you know, with the older guy, he was screaming in the courtroom. That was intentional. The Live from the Metropolis, that was intentional. The James Baldwin skit, he said that in the 60s, and that reflected now. That was he was talking about now, but he said that in the 60s. You know, there's millions of jobs that we don't have. You know, he was talking about now, and those are powerful. Those skits are just as powerful as the records, you know. So
For sure.
once you intertwine everything together and you put it all together, man, it's something inspired by 2020, and I had to drop it 2020. I couldn't wait to the new year to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Also, you know, I've spoken to Slot, and I've mentioned to Slot, the producer, and also album, that he needs to rap more. I was so glad I'm on the hook on that. You know, to me, it felt like your guys is almost an ode to the corner with Common and Kanye, and it felt very similar to that sort of aura and space. Like, yo, this is dope, and I always tell Slot all the time that I'm gonna rap more, but he's like, you know, just need to find the perfect opportunities for him to do it. That this was definitely a great opportunity for him to get back.
Yeah, he got to be inspired. You know, Slot is amazing, man. Like, I give that whole, like, when he sent me the beat, like when me and Slot speak, we speak for like 3 hours at a time. You know, every time we get on the phone, it's a 2-3 hour conversation. We touch bases, you know. And after one conversation, you know, we were on Instagram Live one night. After one conversation, he sent me like 5 beats, and that was one. I got straight to it. And when I got done with the record, I had a hook for it. And after the hook, you know, I didn't like it. So I was like, okay, let me send this to Slot. These are that's his thing. You know, he can come up with those hooks in his sleep. You know, he created the beat, so it's already a vibe there. And sent it to him. He sent it back, man. It was amazing, man. You know, Slot. I always say this about Slot, and I tell him this all the time. Slot, he's one of the few producers that can get in a room with Paul McCartney, Cher, Jay-Z, Nas. He can get in a room with all those people individually and deliver. You see what I'm saying? Like, he can touch every end of the table. Like, that dude is amazing. He can make dance records. And, like, that dude, Slot is amazing, man. He's talented. Yeah.
Whenever he just like has his IG sessions and he's just like going through his MPC or whatever he uses to make beats, and he's just going through beats, and it's just like phenomenal, the range of his sounds. And like you're mentioning, like he can give you like an R&B record like he did with Jamel, or he can just give you a straight hard rough record like you did on your record. And it's phenomenal to see how much he could do. And I'm always pulling for him for like the next big record or a huge record to give him his just due, because I just don't think people either know or don't want to give him his flowers right now. But he's phenomenal.
Yeah, Slot is a beast, man. I give him his praise all the time, man. That dude is amazing. Like, there's more work coming from us too. Like, you better believe every beat he sent is getting rapped over. Yeah, like he's a great talent, man. That dude is, we definitely got some stuff cooked up, and it's gonna be more than that. It's definitely gonna be more.
Yeah. So you were able to nab Sky Zoo. He's a friend of the city, and he always rocks with you guys, and you guys are always opening for him and sharing the stage with them. Well, what was it like trying to was he on board from the get on board, or was it a bit of a challenge to loop him in?
Nah, Sky Zoo has always been on board. Time featuring Kenny Keys, that's the record on the Survival Tour we're talking about.
Yeah.
Sky Zoo has always been on board. Like, we brought him here last year in July.
Yeah.
Since then, like you treat people how you want to be treated, especially when you're booking people and you're bringing them into your town and, they're coming to do service, so he since last year, like when we first connected, I went and got him from the airport. It was just like that. Like, we started talking. We had a lot in common. A lot of people wanted to see us on records. I've been getting that a lot of years, that I should work with Sky Zoo. But the long and short of that story is like time came about. I had the record already. Kenny Keys produced it. And I had the verses. And, me and Sky grew a relationship to as though we can call each other. We can text. So I texted him one day. I was like, I got my studio equipment. Got the studio equipment right where I am right now. And I sent him a text, but it was a video and the time beat was playing. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna get mine. Send me the link, boom, boom, boom. So I sent him the link to go get the studio equipment. He come back with another text like, man, what is that in the background playing? He was like, that shit is banging. So I was like, man, that's a record I got called Time, produced by Kenny Keys. And, he's familiar with Kenny Keys. And he was like, I was like, you want me to save you a spot on it? He was like, yeah. So this was July. This was around July, late June, early July. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll save a spot on it and you can get on it. He ended up getting the surgery done on his throat.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He was down the whole month of August. So when September came about, he was able to speak again, got his voice back, Doctor told him he could record. So I texted him. I'm like, you're still working on All the Brilliant Things. That's his album that's coming out. So he was like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, man, I still got the beat. He was like, shoot it. I shot it. He sent the beat back and he sent the verse back in 3 hours. And that was one of the first verses he did after the throat surgery. Someone else, So that was dope. Like, he's a very stand-up guy, man. He's a stand-up dude, man. He's like a brother to me, man. We're Hennessy brothers. That's what we call each other.
Instead of your brothers, the Hennessy brothers. I like it.
Yeah, we toast. We're Hennessy brothers, Azu's a great guy, man. Stand-up dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whenever I would book him for the morning show when I was over at Loyola, he answers all his own emails. So it's like, yeah. He's like, I could do that. Just send me the number to the show and I'll call in. And so
yeah,
he's always super pleasant to talk to and just like a DIY kind of guy. So yeah. I always appreciate his hustle and I missed that show. That was the Bourbon on Division show, I think it was, that you guys had last year.
We just getting started, Gabe. Don't even worry about it.
Well, when the world comes back, I'm not missing any shows.
Oh man,
everyone's coming back.
New content. He's working on a phenomenal album. I want to give out some of the producers and stuff. I don't know if he, ready to do that yet. Yeah. But he's on a phenomenal album. I know he's going to tour it, and he's going to come to Chicago if I don't be on the tour with him. So yeah, we're definitely. It's definitely going to be a lot of shows, man. I can't.
So someone mentioned today on Twitter, like, name one underrated rapper, and that's why I said Sky Zoo. And I told him this too. I think he improves with every album that he puts out. It's like every record seems to get better and better and better, and he's just improved. So he's a fantastic artist. I'm so glad that you guys have that connectivity, working with each other. Another record that I really enjoyed was the "I Love You" record, which opens up with Mitch from Paid in Full. He's like, "Yo, I need some." It's just such it kicks off the record in such a great way, and then you kind of just like you just talk about what love feels like, and I really appreciate that record.
Thank you, man. That record was it's a beautiful record, man. I got that record from SC sometime last year. I went to his crib. I picked out about 19 beats. Had it sitting on ice because I knew I wanted to write to it, but I didn't have the words yet. So during the pandemic, I sat. I would fall asleep to the beat. I recorded it, and the words flowed. I recorded it in the daytime, and the words flowed. They just came out, And the chorus on the song, I wanted it to be so simple to where as though a 3-year-old could sing it, but it still will stick to you in the mind. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm spelling out "I love you," but people can vibe to it. And then I sent it to Fifth. I sent it to SC and he was like, we should get some scratches on it. Let's throw the Houdini. Sent it to Fifth Element. Salute to my guy, Fifth Element. Amazing producer as well. He chopped up the Houdini and scratched the Houdini on that joint. And there you have it. I love you. That's a standout record, man. And I put Mitch in the beginning because What Down came before that record, and it was a reference. It was a reference to Paid in Full in that song. You should front your mans. When Dame Dash pulled up and was like, "You should front your mans and give him something." That was kind of like a knock on Wood Harris, and so now I came back with the Wood Harris, skit, and it all played a part.
Yeah, there's just first off, rest in peace to Escasy from Houdini, who passed last week. So
yeah, rest in peace.
It's a fantastic nod to that group, that kind of group. But it's just like the record itself just has like these great moments throughout it, where whether it's scratches or the interludes or the skits, there's just so much to grasp around it, and it has this feeling of being in the moment, like you're saying. But also it kind of feels like it's a forward moving record as well, where it's in retrospect, but also how can we take what's happening now and apply it and move forward. And and I think that the album itself that just has like a lot of different jewels that you can find. And I've listened to it several times, and I feel like I still don't grasp everything yet, but that's fine because it just means I need to listen to it again. So I really appreciate how you constructed this record.
Thank you, man. Like, I just wanted to show people, I can put together an album, I can put together an album, I can make it happen. And it's just not me, Hadi and Chuck play a big part in it as well. Everybody batted 1,000 in their departments. And it was really tough to get this project out, because COVID affected people in different ways. We went through like 3 art directions, 3 artists, to my brother Aofx. He's amazing. He's an up and coming cat. I won't even say that. He grinded. Aofx is amazing with the art. But we went through 2 other artists, man, and due to COVID, they weren't able to facilitate. So we got with Aofx. Aofx knocked it out the park, and we got like 3 other cover arts from Aofx already down the line. But it was tough trying to get that project out. I literally drained. I was drained the day it came out, man. Yeah, mentally. For real.
It was like getting to the finish line,
Yeah, man. Promo, press release, all that good stuff. Doing it all on your own, man. It can be very it's tedious work, because I make everything on my own.
I wanted to ask you about the cover art too. It's so it's in front of for those who aren't seen it. Look it up. It's like a group of Black people with ammunition or weapons in front of the White House. There's like these signs that says "No More Pain." Is that kind of like what we were seeing during the height of the rioting and the protesting of people who are just fed up with the way that Black Americans are being treated in this country, either through government policies or law enforcement? What was it kind of like an interpretation of what was happening in real time?
Well, when it comes to the cover art is nothing but a moment in time that was repeated. You know, once you take the everything on that cover art is real. Like three boys, those are actual pictures of three African soldiers. You know, the African wild dog, that is real. And on the back cover art, it has Trump. That's an actual picture. You know, Trump left the White House, split the people to go stand in front of a church and take a picture with the Bible upside down. So all I did was I recreated that moment, but put my twist on it. You know, you got the boys in front. They're standing in front. If you can see, their shirts are red, white, and blue. It's America. And then you see they have guns. They're young soldiers. That's all we're around all over the world. If it's young soldiers in Africa, it's young soldiers over in Chicago and you know, New York and all the other places. So once you take that, and then the picket signs, it's always a protest moment. The whole Trump presidency was a protest moment, if you let me tell it. So you take that, you take the halos over their heads. That symbolizes innocence, you know, and the dog is only there to show how all of those people in the picture has something in common. They're endangered. You know, that guard, I did research. I like to throw controversy in my cover arts. So you take the dog, the African wild dog is one of the most endangered species in Africa, you know, but over here, a young man's life isn't worth more than a dog's life.
Right.
When you look at like Michael Vick, for instance, you know, now I love animals. I love animals, but it's just the facts, you know. It's little messages in each piece of art that I come out with. So that's what it was, you know, and the whole theme around it is survival. Everybody's on that cover art trying to survive, you know, trying to survive. And on the back cover art with Trump, you got this guy really making a clown out of himself and not doing the right thing by the people, you know.
Sure.
So it's very thought provoking, man, and it's all salute to AOFX. AOFX hit the ball out the park with that, man. You know.
Yeah, you mentioned that with the Chicago Third World City, the art on there was crazy as well. So you've always done a good job, you know, raising discussion around what you're seeing and then matching it with the music, you know. So I think you've always done a good job with that. Thank you.
I always knew that, like, I take pictures. I think about myself when I do this type of shit, you know. Oh, sorry for the. Can I say what I want?
You certainly can.
Yeah. You know, when I look at this type of shit, you know, I always looked at myself like, okay, this art is dope. That's going to make me listen to it. And with music, most people will eat with their eyes first. It's damn near. So if you got some dope artwork to go along with the music, people gonna look at that artwork first, and they're more inclined to go listen to the music after the art. And once you press play, I put so much into my music. Once you press play, now you're into it, you know. So it's like A and B, man. They're right by each other all the time, and they go together so well.
Absolutely. Well, the record is out there. It's on all streaming platforms. The Survival Scroll by Philmore Greene. Before we let you go, P, I did want to ask your top 5 moments of 2020. What do you remember about this year? Good or bad? Doesn't matter.
Good or bad? Oh man. Okay. It may be more than 5, Gabe. I don't know, man.
You know what? Spout them out. Go as far as you can go.
One of the moments, Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe passing set it off, you know. It was all bad vibes, man. Kobe passed in January. That started the year off very bad, you know, and it was just crazy, man. You know, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. I was a huge fan of Kobe And I don't even say I'm a fan of anybody, but I was a huge fan of Kobe. You know, it's been plenty of nights I've been the only one in the room cheering that guy on, you know, and everybody else going against him. So Kobe passed and leaving on his legacy. Rest in peace to Kobe and everyone else that was in the helicopter. Another moment, well, you know, COVID hit, shut the world down. COVID hit, shut the world down, and I'm gonna end it off with 3 good ones. Those are the 2 worst.
All right.
Three good ones. I'm gonna end it off with 3 good ones. I'm not gonna give you 5 bad, but I'm gonna give you 3 good ones to end it off.
Okay, let's go.
We got Trump being pushed out of office.
That's a good one. Yep.
That's a good one. All-Star Weekend in Chicago. That was
before the quarantine. Yep.
Before the quarantine. All-Star mixed with the combination of us being quarantined and us coming together as people, and we're getting closer to our people via the internet, you know, family. We're checking on family, you know. I think this world has come together in a great way due to the quarantine and the whole global pandemic. And shit, number 5, the survival scroll.
There you go.
The survival scroll, man. I dropped my sophomore effort, you know, the survival scroll, you know, and this is only the beginning of the most consistent work I'm ever going to put out in my life, you know.
Absolutely.
So top 5, you know.
I will throw one more in there. We got The Last Dance, which came out in the spring, and I still watch it. I still watch it. It's fantastic. So we got Last Dance.
Incredible, man. MJ was a different type of beast, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Never be enough. Don't compare him to anybody.
The memes and the gifts that have been generated from The Last Dance are just, you know, the gifts that just keep on giving. No pun.
Yeah. Super funny, man. The internet is undefeated. The internet is always undefeated, man. You can never beat the internet.
No, absolutely. No? You can't. You would not do the internet. Yes, man.
Never.
P, man. Thank you so much for joining us here on the last 2020 show of Weekend at Gabe's. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. The last scroll is the last scroll. The survival scroll is out right now. And please go support it. Put some money behind it if you can. Will you have merch going out too? I'm sure.
Yeah, merch is on teamcultureclothing.com, spelled exactly the way it is. Teamcultureclothing.com. We got limited edition merch. We got it from the most expensive to the least. You know, we got stuff on there from $70 to $10. So if you want to support in any fashion, you know, go on there, get something, you know, and it's gonna be more, man. Be expecting more from me. Like, I'm about to be consistent, man. I'm the most consistent I've ever been. I have a formula, and I see what direction everything is going, and I'm actually recording at home. So it's on, you know.
Oh, man.
We talk a lot more now. So that's all that means. That's all that means.
The Tupac work ethic is about to be fully activated. I see.
Yeah. Another bad thing in 2020.
Okay.
Hey, it just happened yesterday. The Cubs traded Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
Jed Hoyer, if you see this, you need to be kicking your ass. You trade, and I know this is off topic, but I got to talk Cubs with you. I know you're a Sox guy.
I was trashing the Cubs before we got on, so go ahead. You can have your
Sox doing what they need to do. I give it to them. You know, my brother's he's a Sox fan. I'm a Cubs fan. Every time it is, we take turns going to Crosstown Classic. So when the world opens back up, it's our turn to go to Wrigley. You know, but you trade a guy that had the best season of his career. He was second for the Cy Young Award.
Yep.
And you get him out of there. You trade one of our most consistent bats in Cal Schwarber. I don't get what he's doing. I hope he has something up his sleeve. I just don't get it, man. That is not a good way to end off the 2020 for sports, you know?
You know what? I and for a lifelong suffering White Sox fan, I feel nothing but joy for what you guys are about to experience.
Hey, but you can't, like, I was in a group text last night with a few of the fellas. You can't take 2016 away from us.
No, listen. Our title has come and gone, and there's been some bad years.
Very.
And you guys are about to hope. I don't know. Maybe you guys won't suffer as much because your division sucks. But
Exactly.
but I will not. I'm not going to feel sorry for you guys because one, you guys aren't broke. The Ricketts are not broke. You guys
not by a long shot.
You guys have converted. I don't say you guys, but the Ricketts have converted the Wrigleyville into Disney World and have revenue sources from everywhere. So I don't want to hear about them crying poor because that's not true. So, well, whatever their justification is when they come out and discuss it, I'm interested to hear what it's all about. But either way, my Sox are loaded, even though we have a crazy manager who might implode the whole shit. But I'm interested and excited for the next few years. So
how does that guy get a DUI his second day on the job? You gotta love that guy, right? He's
no.
Hey, you guys are loaded though, but your division, that American League, you got to come with it.
Oh, the Indians are always good. The Twins are pesky. The Royals can bounce back too. We play with some really difficult teams. So
yes.
But I'm optimistic my Sox are going to be really good the next several years, hopefully, and then you guys can rebound in a few years.
Let's cross our fingers on the Crosstown World Series.
Hopefully in our lifetime, that'd be great.
That'd be stupid.
This city won't know how to act. That's all I know.
It'll be mayhem. You know how many fights? You know how many fights? It'll be mayhem, bedlam. Crazy.
I would love to be there for that.
Oh man, that'll be crazy.
Well, Pete, let me let you go, man. We ran into overtime, but I want to respect your time. But thank you so much for coming in and talk about the new album. Congratulations on finishing out the year strong. We look forward to what you're doing next. But hopefully you let this one linger a little bit so that people can really digest it before you give us some new stuff.
To be honest, bro, and I got time, but to be honest, I'm coming right back first quarter.
All right.
It's always a pleasure, Gabe.
Absolutely. Same to you, man. I wish you and you and the kids and the family nothing but good health going into the new year. I look forward to seeing you guys in person. Hopefully, whenever it's okay to do that. So I look forward to that.
Likewise, brother.
All right. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
Love.
All right, I'm Weekend Gabe. You're checking out Weekend at Gabe's. This is the last show of 2020. Don't forget to give us a follow on the social medias at Weekend Gabe, and we'll do it on Friday again. We have Lily B, a storyteller from the city of Chicago, who's doing workshops over the weekend and to get your storytelling game up on tight. So join us, and we'll talk with her, and also Michael Locke of the Chicago MC, who also has some new music out. So we're going to start the new year on Friday night with a bang. Don't miss us right here on Twitch on Weekend at Gabe's. On Weekend Gabe, enjoy the rest of your evening and your Tuesday night.